Are your usernames and passwords on the dark web? How would you know? How can you protect yourself? Coming up next, I'll actually show you how you can find out whether your information is on the dark web and go over 4 simple steps you can take to protect your usernames and passwords. Was your data, was your password released in the recent massive data dump of passwords? How would you know? What would you do to protect yourself about this? So here's the deal. Hackers are constantly working to break in to computers. And sometimes those computers are personal computers. And when they're personal computers, if a hacker gets into your computer, well, they're going to glean data, including usernames and passwords, especially if you store those in your browser. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit, steps that you can go through and how you can protect yourself against this. But you know, what happens if they break into a bank website or an email provider's website or let's say Amazon or some sort of Walmart or some sort of other online retailer that has your information and your passwords, your username, your password? What happens with that information? Well, they capture as much information as they can, and they use that to a certain extent. But then there's something called the dark web, which was created, if you've been listening to this show, you've been watching this show, you know this. The dark web was actually created by the U.S. military, and it was created so that they could actually put information up and share information in a way that it's difficult to get to and difficult to trace where it came from. So that's what the dark web is. But the U.S. military, in their infinite wisdom, decided to give this to everyone. And, you know, it does have some legitimate uses, but it also is being used by malicious hackers, scammers, that actually gather information, your usernames and passwords, and post it on the dark web. So there actually was just recently a massive threat of and a massive data dump of information out there, with actually over almost 10 billion passwords that actually have been leaked out there, and this massive database was just released on the dark web, and your username and password may be one of them. So I'm going to give you some steps, first of all, to know whether your information was compromised, and also steps that you can take to actually protect yourself from this type of thing. And if you're a business, protect your business from this type of data breach. So first of all, one of the things is we want to recommend you never, ever, ever store your usernames and passwords in your browser. Why? If a hacker ever gets into your computer, that hacker is going to instantly, within just seconds, they're going to have access to every username and password that you have stored in your browser. So it's not a safe way to do this. It's not a safe way to put that information and to store that information. We do have other safe ways. We'll go over that here in just a minute. Safer ways to do that. So you never want to put that information out there in your browser. Also, you don't, and I know some of you listening do this, but we recommend not doing this. Do not use the same password on every website, because here's what happens. If you use a username and password on a website and that site is hacked into, and the hackers find out what your password is, and then they release it to the dark web, not only do they know what your password is, but every other hacker that goes there and purchases that information has access to that information on the dark web. So then what actually happens is what's called password stuffing, where hackers go to multiple websites. Let's say you were, this was a cyber, let's say this was a shopping website. So you go to the shopping website, you use the same username and password, but then you also use that same password at your email. Well, your username at the shopping website was also your email address. So the hacker will go to your email, and they will, your email provider, they'll see if they can log in with that same username and password. If they can, you're in trouble, because they're going to start sending emails to your friends, your contacts. If you're a business, they're going to start sending emails to your business contacts. That's even worse. So you never want to use the same password at every site. You also don't want to use very similar passwords, because then they can just try various variations of that. What if they use the same password on Facebook? Well, then they can get into Facebook, and they can start posting spam and sending spam comments to your friends, and trying to infect your friends or get into their system. So that's why you never want to use the same password. You don't want to use similar passwords either. And you don't want to use passwords, obviously, that are easy to guess, using your kids' names, your dog's names, your cat's names, things like that, addresses that you've used to live at. You don't want to do that type of thing. It's helpful to have, first of all, a secure password management system. And you can do this through a spreadsheet or a Word document that is actually password protected. You can do this in Word. You can do it in LibreOffice Writer. You can do it in LibreOffice Calc, which is their similar version to their comparable version to Excel. You can do it in Microsoft Excel. You can have a username and password database that you have to log into to get to. We also have a password management system that we recommend that's very safe, very secure. It actually will securely store your password, and it has a breach notification add-on that actually searches the dark web and notifies you if one of your usernames and passwords is on the dark web, so that you can immediately go out and change that password. Another thing that it does that the spreadsheet won't do, or that it would be very difficult to do with this spreadsheet, is it actually allows you to actually go out and go to and to create a unique complex password that, by the way, you don't have to remember. It's so complex that you can't remember it, but it creates that so that you don't have to deal with that, and then you can actually just plug that unique complex password into the site. If you want a 10-character password, a 20-character password, a 30-character password, or even longer, if the website supports it. And by the way, not all websites support very long passwords. So that's something that you'll actually want to, you can actually take advantage of. In addition to that, and by the way, we have this service available for businesses. We have it available for residential customers as well. And we have several businesses and residential clients that are utilizing this to help protect them. We also have for businesses cybersecurity awareness training, and part of that also includes dark web monitoring to see if your domain, your usernames and passwords are on the dark web. So this is another way that you can actually get out there and you can protect yourself. And these types of things can actually go a long way to making sure that you are safe. You don't have to go to the dark web or know how to go to the dark web. You can actually use services that don't cost very much to help protect you and notify you so you can protect yourself. I hope you've liked this video. I hope you've learned something from it. If you have, please click the like button, click subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when we release new videos. And remember, when you have cybersecurity problems, you need a faster PC.